Welcome to Talking Technology with VI Labs. At VI Labs, we believe technology is the single greatest enabler for people with sight loss and all disabilities. If you're looking for the latest news and conversation on tech from a more accessible perspective, you've come to the right place.
Hello and welcome in to Talking Technology Extra. We haven't done these in quite a while. It's been a while. I think the last time we did a Talking Technology Extra, if I recall, was for an Apple event. But hey, today is, there is some breaking news that I think is going to be massive. In many respects for the visually impaired community, the blind community in general. We have just heard the news, and we'll talk about it more in just a second, that Be My Eyes are set to acquire AppleVis. So a few weeks ago, you will have heard that AppleVis were set to close. That is now not happening, it seems. But the site is to be acquired by Be My Eyes. How crazy is that? And we will talk about all that in just a second. But first, if you do want to get in touch with us, as always, of course, you can feel free to do so. I'm guessing there's going to be some really interesting reactions to this. A lot of people are going to have thoughts. But there is, of course, a number of ways that you can get in touch with us. Yes, if you do want to join the conversation, we'd absolutely love to hear from you. The number that you need if you want to send us a WhatsApp voice note, it's simple enough. It's 086 199 0011. That's 086 199 0011. We'd absolutely love to hear from you with a WhatsApp voice note. Tell us your thoughts. How do you feel about Be My Eyes taking over AppleVis? Are they a good partner? Let us know your thoughts. We'd love to hear from you. You can also send us an email using the good old-fashioned way. That's email. That's content@vi.ie. It's content@vi.ie. So whether it's a WhatsApp voice note on 086 199 0011 or content@vi.ie, we would absolutely love to hear from you. There is this is going to be a really exciting one, and I'm sure there's going to be all manner of reactions to this really interesting story. But to react to it here with me, I am joined, as always, from Kilkenny by Mr. Joe Lonigan. Joe, how are we?
Hi, David. I'm all good.
So, Joe, first impressions. Be My Eyes to acquire AppleVis. This is not one I expected, I must say, Joe.
Not one I expecting, but I was expecting a big announcement in the order of something similar, that someone was taking it over that had a bit of clout and some financial nous about them to keep the site going. So I'm delighted to hear it's Be My Eyes myself.
Do you think they're a good fit, Joe?
I definitely think they're a good fit. I know there is possibilities that there might be a small bit of bias shown, but in all fairness, a lot of Be My Eyes stuff was always top front and centre because it's such a very popular app that any changes that did come from Be My Eyes, everyone is talking about it anyway on AppleVis. So look, I think the fact that they're taking over, obviously they'll talk a little bit more about Be My Eyes, but why not? It is a great app, and it's probably one of the most downloaded apps in the vision impaired and blind community, especially among iOS users.
Absolutely. So a few details here that we have on this. So Be My Eyes to acquire AppleVis, its brand and seemingly all of its assets. So they've got the site, they've got the content, the pre-existing content. We'll talk about that more in a second as well. They have agreed to provide financial support for 2 staff to run the site day to day. That's good. That's something I don't think that they were going to be able to get on their own realistically, Joe, is it? That's
great news that they're giving 2 employees a wage from taking over the site. What the speculation I was having last week with you and the podcast was maybe they'll run it and have an advertiser or a backer, that kind of way. But I think this is even better personally, and also volunteers will help out again, but in the editorial side of it. But I think this is really good news, David.
Absolutely. So we have also here the existing editorial team will stay in place. That's also brilliant to hear. So Dave Nason, who you will hear on the podcast on a regular basis as well, Thomas Donville there as well. The entire team are staying in place over there at AppleVis, which is great. Now, there's also some other interesting bits here as well. I think there's going to be a lot of talk around, could Be My Eyes really grow AppleVis? What does that look like? Because they're going to have a nice bit of financial power here as well. But you mentioned there, Joe, that bias. They are also guaranteeing, or at least promising, that the AppleVis site will remain editorially independent, which sounds really good. We can only hope that that's respected, Joe, I think, at the end of the day. That's all we can hope for with this, really, isn't it?
Well, I think it will be respected. Of course, it'll be only natural that if Be My Eyes is a financial backer or an owner of the site, that their content will be pushed front and centre. But I think it will grow the site because, as we've seen with some of the Be My Eyes stuff on YouTube, it has gone viral recently. So with hundreds of thousands of views on certain videos, especially to do with AI and Be My AI, and also some of that real-time AI stuff. So look, I'm not saying they're going to tag any of that stuff straight with AppleVis, but it's not going to do any harm, put it that way. It's going to really, I think it'll really grow the brand of AppleVis. And it's a big change from a couple of weeks ago saying it was closing down, and the depressing talk to this, which is a very positive move. And I think it'll really create a bit of a stir and a lot of chat about AppleVis again. And I think it's going to get it going. And all those Apple enthusiasts like myself and you, David, we will have a site and a resource again to follow.
Absolutely, and that can only be a good thing. We have seen, I'm looking at some of the kind of history here for Be My Eyes, and Be My Eyes, in many respects, they have had a really good history, especially in the last little while since they introduced all of their AI features. It hasn't been flawless. They've had a bit of controversy around their inclusive language guide and stuff like that. And recently, of course, they have also announced plans to start sharing some user calls with AI creators and stuff like that. I do wonder, like, will there be some form of AI sharing and using some form of AppleVis content for training? Because that content, like, it's like Reddit and all of those platforms. It has huge value. But with that said, and I think you've hit the nail on the head here, Joe, there's a lot of questions to be answered, but this is obviously 10 times, 100 times better than all of that content just disappearing, which would have been a massive loss to the sight loss community.
Of course, yeah. And I think a lot of the controversial things that you mentioned and stuff, some of that can come from forums and things that have a lack of administration. With full-time employees comes a bit more control and maybe a bit more monitoring of people's comments. There is some people out there that might have strong opinions. They might send something in, didn't quite mean to offend anybody, but they didn't filter their comment before they sent it in, and things can get out of control then with the back chat or the following comments, and you know yourself. So I think with full-time employees, I think there'll be a bit more control over the site. The forums might be a bit more inclusive and monitored, and I think the controversy might just be a more positive place to be.
That's a really interesting perspective. I do think that this is obviously really exciting. We'll have to wait and see. I think the future will tell us a lot in terms of how successful this partnership is, but definitely it looks like we're moving in the right direction here. And I think, in fact, as well, I think one of the big things that I don't think we should gloss over is that fact that AppleVis editorial team is staying in place, because they clearly have, like, they've been volunteering on this for a long time. They clearly know and treat it with respect and have treated it with respect in the past. And I would like to think that they won't let anything nasty happen here with Be My Eyes. But I think, to be fair to Be My Eyes, they have also shown great commitment to visually impaired people. So I do think this is a really, really exciting move, even if there are some questions.
Yes, and also BMIs have proved in the past that they're a great collaborator with companies, and they don't show too much bias to one or the other. So they've collaborated with Microsoft, Google, just to mention two massive tech companies.
Yeah,
that
Sky here in Ireland,
probably wouldn't be
Yep.
probably are not best friends, but they're not big enemies either. So I think it does show great inclusiveness. That they're from their past, if you know what I mean. So also LinkedIn and Clear Blue, and look, they've connected with Lego. They've loads of connections. So I think Be My Eyes have shown now that they are a leader in collaboration.
Is there anything, obviously with this bigger financial backing, I think there's a lot of questions we can ask now that we may not have been able to ask before about stuff that would be really cool in theory from AppleVis. So is that one of the things that came to mind for me was, could AppleVis have an app or something now? There's some really interesting opportunities. Is there anything you think you'd like to see with the future AppleVis that now presumably has a bit more funding behind it, Joe?
Well, an app, yeah, that's a fair possibility. But I think one of the big things that might happen very soon is you'll see AppleVis getting, I suppose, front and center of the Be My Eyes app, possibly. So that could be the way they'll go,
Absolutely, yeah. It's going to be a really interesting time to see where all of that goes. And I must say, I am definitely excited. And yeah, a lot of questions to be answered, but definitely an exciting story. And this is really, I think, a story that will evolve in the next couple of days. We did want to get a podcast, a very quick podcast out today to talk a little bit about it. But Joe, overall, you're feeling happy generally? You think this is a good move?
I'm enthusiastic about the takeover, and I think it's a good move. We did say we don't want the AppleVis website to die. Originally, was a suggestion from yourself was to archive it if there was no other choice.
Yeah.
But I think this is a better choice and a great takeover. And I wish Be My Eyes and AppleVis the best of luck. And I look forward to reading more Apple content, especially with all the exciting AI ventures that are coming soon.
Absolutely. Joe, thank you so much for talking to us on all of that. Absolutely. Very exciting times ahead, both for AppleVis and, of course, in the Apple ecosystem over the next little while. We have the upcoming event from Apple that's coming in September with new iPhones, presumably the iPhone 16, the Apple Watch Series 10, loads of really exciting stuff. And it is fantastic that we will have AppleVis back to cover all of that sort of stuff. AppleVis is very much alive, and this is fantastic really to see. Definitely, as Joe said there, we asked for AppleVis hopefully to be archived. I think this is about as good as we could possibly have hoped for. And the very, very best of luck to the teams at AppleVis there, the AppleVis editorial team and the team at Be My Eyes for frankly putting up the money and being willing to take on this massive project. AppleVis is no small beast, and I think to take that on is really, really exciting, and is going to be a very interesting story in the sight loss community for sure. So yeah, tell us your thoughts. We'd absolutely love to hear your thoughts. As always, you can send us a WhatsApp voice note 086 199 0011, or you can send us an email to content@vi.ie, and we would absolutely love to hear from you. That is about our lot for this episode of Talking Technology. We'll be back next week. This was just a very quick update episode to tell you all about the exciting news. But we will be back next week to talk all about kitchens and all sorts of smart tech in the kitchen. So do stick around for that and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. For now, thank you so much for listening. We'll see you again soon, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks for listening to the Talking Technology podcast with VI Labs. If you'd like to support our show, please visit vi.ie/donate. Talking Technology is proudly sponsored by IA Labs, the market leader in digital accessibility services. IA Labs, digital inclusion, your legal obligation.